Amélie at the train window. Every evening, the Paris-Nice train was a silver ribbon pulling the twilight behind it. And every evening, in her usual second-class seat, was Amélie, a blonde art student who treated the journey not as transport, but as a moving gallery. She sat by the window, not gazing out, but observing in. Her notebook balanced on her knees, filled with quick charcoal sketches of faces she'd never meet. They were portraits of fleeting moments. A businessman asleep, a mother soothing a child, a girl staring blankly at her phone. They were the ghosts of the corridor. Then, one rainy night near Lyon, the ordinary gave way to the exceptional. He was tall, dressed in a slightly rumpled linen shirt, and deeply absorbed in reading a dog-eared copy of The Little Prince. He looked up just as she quickly dipped her head, caught in the act of sketching his profile. A slow smile spread across his face. "You draw travelers?" he asked, his voice low and rich, like the sound of the train on the rails. She met his gaze, her own shy but direct. "Only the ones who look lost," she replied, the pencil still poised between her fingers. He closed the book, setting it aside. "Well, then you've captured me perfectly." His name was Mark, and he was a journalist taking a detour. They spent the rest of the ride in a conversation that felt both urgent and timeless. They talked about dreams that change with the seasons, the forgotten poetry of old postcards, and the easy way people break promises that never quite made it home. Mark was enchanted by her perspective, and Amélie was drawn to the gentle, restless spirit reflected in his eyes. Hours blurred into the rhythm of the rails. As the train began its final approach to Nice, the spell broke. Amélie, rushing for the necessary goodbye, tore a single page from her sketchpad. It was his portrait, drawn not with the precision of a camera, but with the warmth of her memory, a portrait of him smiling. "For the journey," she said, pressing the paper into his hand. Mark stared down at the drawing, a complicated mix of joy and regret crossing his face. Before he could find the right words, the doors hissed open, and the flow of people swept him away. Amélie watched him go, feeling the acute, strange pain of leaving a piece of her heart with a stranger. A year later, on the same day and taking the same train route, Amélie found herself drawn to her usual window seat. She didn't know why, perhaps just a romantic habit. She set down her bag, and as she looked out at the passing landscape, she froze. Taped securely to the glass exactly where he had sat was her torn sketch, his portrait. She gently peeled the page from the glass, her hands trembling. On the back, in a familiar, confident script, was a message, written just that morning. "Still looking for you, Mark." Amélie read the words, the familiar ache replaced by a dizzying rush of hope. She looked out the window, a genuine, joyful smile finally reaching her eyes as tears blurred her vision. He hadn't just remembered. He had repeated the journey, hoping she would too. She sank back into the seat, clutching the drawing to her chest. She realized that sometimes, in the beautiful, complicated journeys of life, love takes the same route twice, and if you are brave enough to get back on the train, you might just find your destination waiting for you.